Today I'm going to review a Clint Eastwood film, and this one's called High Plains Drifter.
A drifter came riding out of the West. You know him as Clint Eastwood.
What did you say your name was again?
I didn't.
High Plains Drifter came out in 1973 and is a supernatural western. It was directed by Clint Eastwood, who also stars in the film, and this is only his second film that he directed. The first was Play Misty for Me. The film was made for the Malpaso Company. It was written by Ernest Tidyman, music by D. Barton, and runs 105 minutes. It cost $5.5 million to make and made back 15.7. The film features a stranger returning to a village for vengeance. And Eastwood would make a similar film called Pale Rider in 1985. The film was also influenced by two film directors that Eastwood worked with, Sergio Leone and Don Siegel. The film was shot on location at Mono Lake in California. Over 50 technicians constructed an entire town for the film. This consisted of 14 houses, a church and a 2-story hotel that were constructed in 18 days. This was because Eastwood wanted to shoot interior shots, so he used real buildings and needed them built. The film stars Clint Eastwood, Verna Bloom, Mariana Hill, Billy Curtis and Jeffrey Lewis, who would also star in many other Clint Eastwood films. So in this film, Clint plays a character with no name called the Stranger. In the film, a drifter with no name wanders into a small town where he is a gunslinger, and his abilities are on high demand. Once he shows that he's capable of shooting people with a pistol, the locals realise he may be able to help them, to use him to stop a bunch of outlaws terrorising the town. Eastwood's character agrees to the townspeople, but he does so with his own secret agenda. So it's a mixture, this, of a western and a supernatural type of story. However, the supernatural aspect's subtle. The ghost story interpretation of the film favoured by Eastwood is hinted at strongly throughout the movie, suggesting that the stranger may be the ghost of the slain marshal, returning for vengeance and justice. And it's very similar to a film called Pale Rider from 1985, both directed by Clint Eastwood and starring him, and they both seem to have the same plot. Pale Rider's sort of like a remake of this film. So when I review Pale Rider sometime, I'll compare both films, see which one's better. So from the very first shot, this film's eerie. You get to see Clint's character coming through this heat he is. So he's like appearing out of nowhere, like a ghost. The beginning and end of the film sees the stranger mysteriously emerge, apparition-like, as he rides into and out of a shimmering heat he is. And not only that, but you get this really eerie music that's excellent. Brilliant. It really gives the scene very much atmosphere, the music. So it's almost like the start of a horror film. And we get to see flashbacks of Clint's earlier character who gets killed as sheriff. Upon arriving, the stranger has a lucid and graphic dream about Jim Duncan's death, in which Duncan declares damnation upon the townspeople for not saving his life. The character of the Marshal was played by Buddy Van Horn. That was Clint Eastwood's longtime stunt double, and he used him to suggest that him and the Strange were the same person. So the supernatural aspects are downplayed, but they're still good. I like the subtle bit where Clint's looking in a mirror at himself, examining how he's changed. I like that. There's a scene where he gets shot at while he's having a bath, one of those tin baths. This woman comes in with a gun and shoots at him, and he ducks under the water. But in real life, he would have got shot and killed. So,
I'll kill you!
almost supernatural that he could survive that. And his character never seems scared or panics. He is a kind of supernatural being, an angel or something. It's never properly explained what he is. But he's not goody two-shoes either. There's a scene where this woman, she bumps into him and she's like off with him, nasty. And he ends up taking her into a hair barn and rapes her.
Hey, Phil,
That's how you sort cheeky bloody women out. You take them to a bloody hair barn, like what bloody Clint does. I don't know, Bones. Sean Connery does it as well in Goldfinger, when he gets pussy galore in the hair barn.
Do you, in the films?
So they both ended up with pussy.
Oh my.
So that kind of proves that these characters aren't just black and white. There's good and bad in all of them. Unlike, say, the westerns where John Wayne's in, where they're all black hats, white hats, identifying good characters and bad characters. The Clint Eastwood westerns, they're a mixture. They're very contradicting. Hey, Clint Eastwood's better than bloody John Wayne. Well, I don't know, Bones. John Wayne's alright. They're both good. Nah, John Wayne's bloody shite.
What are you laughing at?
There's also humour in this film. Clint has the run of the town because they're wanting him to sort these outlaws that are terrorising the town. He's the only one with gunslinging abilities. So they said, if you can stop this gang, we'll give you anything you want in the town. There's a funny scene where he makes the midget guy, he makes him the sheriff.
About time this town has a new sheriff.
I'm the sheriff.
And the mayor.
I'm the mayor.
Any objections?
That little bugger makes me laugh. That little dwarf. Hey, Bones, you're not supposed to use that word now. Ah, bloody hell, you cannot say fuck all these days. There's an interesting bit where they're going on about the marshal who got killed, whipped to death, and they're going on about having an unmarked grave, saying his spirit won't rest. When Sarah spends the night with a stranger, she tells them that her belief is that Duncan cannot rest in peace, nor depart the physical realm because he was buried in an unmarked grave. Then when the stranger leaves Largo, the midget is seen tending to the unmarked grave, which now bears the name Jim Duncan. Also, Eastwood's character, he makes them paint the town red and change the title of the town, the signpost, to Hell. The stranger's instructions that all the buildings should be painted red and the town's name of Largo be replaced with Hell echoes Duncan's dying words to the residents who would suffer in hell for not preventing his death. There's some violent scenes as well. There's a scene where Geoffrey Lewis's character shoves a stick inside this man's throat and kills him. That's a really gruesome scene.
Dog. Sure had a lot of blood left in him, didn't he?
Geoffrey Lewis is great in this as one of the villains, the head of the gang that whipped Clint Eastwood's previous incarnation to death. And Lewis has been in lots of other Clint Eastwood films. He's been in Any Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can, Bronco Billy. He's been in quite a few. There's a gruesome scene where one of the gang gets a bit of his ear shot off, and it ends where Eastwood's character rides off into the heat haze. How the film started, it finishes. So this was Clint's second film that he directed. First one was Play Misty for Me. Play Misty for Me is a classic. It's a much better film than this one. However, this film's still well directed. There's some great shots, panoramic views, a bit like his spaghetti westerns. And I love the music in this film. It gives it that eerie feel to it in places. So you know you're watching something that's a little bit different, that it's a bit more than just an ordinary standard western. And the film has a message about sins, that they come back to haunt you. And in this film they do literally, with Clint Eastwood's character coming back to haunt them for the sins. Eastwood would go on to say the film is speculation on what happens when they kill the sheriff and someone comes back and calls the town's conscience to bear. There's always retribution for your deeds. So because it's so unusual, I'm going to give it a highish mark. I'm going to give it 9. 9 out of 10. Almost gets a 10. What do you think, boys? Did you like it? I thought it was an excellent film, Phil. Oh, and happy birthday, Clint Eastwood. 93 this month. Yes, happy birthday, Clint, who's 93 this month. So Clint's going to direct another film, and he says it'll probably be his last film. He's wanting to go out in a blaze of glory. His film's going to be called Jury Number 2. So I take it it's like a courtroom drama type of film. So it'd be great if he can do one final brilliant film. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. See you next time. Like, subscribe and share. Bye everyone. Bye. Bye.